Think Realty Nation, what's up? It's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. One of my favorite shows is about to start right now, and I can't wait to tell you why. But first, I wanted to tell you something. That this podcast is brought to you by Real Property Management. See what I did there? Yeah, exactly. That's kind of cool. Real Property Management, which is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. Learn more at realpropertymgt.com or call 888-806-7088. All right, so here's why this show for me is going to be one of my favorite shows. We're talking about software, and we're talking about data, and we're talking about how there's a company that's solving some problems that they're having. And one, testing investment strategies using software. Number two, analyzing areas, cities, markets, and states for investment potential with software. Automate the process of finding and analyzing deals with accurate data. So this is many of you know me as a geek, and I love software and I love data. I might just have to join their team or something, or maybe apply to be a free intern or something like that, because this kind of stuff is totally my jam and I love it. So that being said, that's going to be the meat of the interview today. And then after that, we're going to talk about why you should market your rental property as pet friendly. Benson Juarez is with me now. Benson, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Abhi.
Hey, you got it. Happy you can be here.
Yes.
Give us a little rundown, 1-2, on who you are, what you do, and why software is so important to you guys.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Benson Juarez. I am the managing partner here at Privy Real Estate Investment Software. We've been doing this for, close to 10 years now. I started out as just an investor in the company, and the CEO lured me back to the company with some fantastic, kind of growth and doing some really cool things, brought me in operationally. So we're here in Colorado, and, I've been doing this for a long time. Went to school for technology. I've been in real estate in one way or another for the past 16, 17 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm fortunate enough to be operating at the intersection of my two passions, which is real estate and tech. And so I'm really fortunate to be here. And we've been growing and developing Privy for quite a long time now.
Awesome. And so in my show notes, I have there's some problems in the industry that you're solving, testing investment strategies, analyzing areas, et cetera. Talk to me a little bit about that, and talk to me about how you found these problems and why start with these problems initially.
Yeah, well, those are kind of some umbrella issues, but they're even more granular than that. So Privy was actually born out of the problems that we were having as agents serving our investor clients. And so it was designed from the perspective of how to help real estate agents better serve their real estate investment clients. There's a kind of this weird teeter-totter between agents and investors, and you probably know this from being in the business, that there's kind of this tension in that relationship where, I talked to an investor just yesterday who told me he hates real estate agents, right? Such a weird sentiment to have in a business where these people are supposed to be working closely together. So when we designed Privy, the whole point was to help us automate the process of finding and analyzing deals while still being able to serve our clients effectively. And it just wasn't happening. So we looked for a technical solution, and it didn't exist. So we built it. Now, we only use the software in-house for many years to basically help us scale, help more investors effectively, but also bring an investor in so they're more involved in the process. And so now we can actually help both of those parties by giving them access to a platform where they can collaborate on properties, on strategies, using data and analytics, so that they're all on this level playing field where it's a win-win for everyone.
I really like that. And for those of you that don't know, or for those of you that are new to the real estate investing game, there's always, what Benson is talking about is there's always that tension between real estate investors on one side and real estate agents on the other. And for some reason, they just don't like each other. Well, I kind of can offer one reason. It's because there are a bunch of wholesalers out there that will just hit up a bunch of real estate agents and say, can you run comps for 50 properties? And eventually these people, the wholesalers or the newbie real estate investors, they don't even give the agent any business. So I'm
Right.
sure there's a lot of frustration there. But
Hmm.
if you're a really good investor, you know that the key to really understanding a market is through a real estate agent. And so, Benson, talk to me a little bit about then what the software does and how I can, as a real estate investor,
Hmm.
use Privy and work with my agent a lot closer.
Yeah. So the whole design was to basically take some of the work and some of um, the onus off the plate of the agent and give it to the investor. And why this is a win-win is because when the investor is more involved in the process, they understand what a deal is. They understand what to buy properties for, what to sell them for. They understand how to run comparables. And before that was all on the plate of the agent. Now, when we have a dual-sided portal, the investor can actually log in. They can run their own comparables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking those tedious tasks off the plate of the agent. They can analyze markets. We can show them before and after data on properties that were fixed and flipped. We can allow them to analyze multiple properties all at once using our bulk upload feature. But for the wholesalers, right, a lot of people who get involved in this thing, they don't have to lean on their agent as much, right? It's again, it's more of a balanced approach. So the investors are way more involved in the process. They understand what's going on, and when that property floats to the surface where they have to act quickly, they've got the confidence to pull the trigger because the good deals go fast. And so everybody is benefiting from this, and it's just been a great success.
That's really neat. And when you talk about the communication between investor and real estate agent, it's very clear. It needs to be there, and that relationship needs to be stronger than ever,
Mhm.
especially now where deals are really tight.
Right.
And deals are scarce. From a investor perspective, I don't necessarily only work with one real estate agent. Does this software give
Mhm.
me the ability to work with multiple real estate agents across different cities or different states in the U.S.?
Yeah, right. So there isn't any sort of a contractual agreement
Okay.
for this investor to work with a specific agent. We encourage relationships to be built, right? That's the basis of any good long-term foundation is like build relationships, right? Make sure that you drive with the person. You got the same strategy, you got the same kind of values as the person you're working with, right? But in some logistical situations, like if I'm an agent in one market and I've got clients who want to invest in other areas, well, I'm more than happy to refer them out to another agent because there's, potential commission there. For investors, their market might not be the best to invest in. So like I'm here in Colorado and it's really tight.
Yeah.
You're in Atlanta. Atlanta is a very competitive market.
Yeah.
So now with the amount of data that we provide and the analytics, investors now can comfortably look at other markets and realistically put together a strategy to invest in those areas and not hold themselves back, right? A lot of people are really limited by what's in front of them and they just don't see the big picture. So with our software, and as we add more and more markets, we actually have a pretty aggressive expansion plan to be in about 80% coverage of the entire country within the next 6 to 8 months. It gives the investors a really good opportunity to invest not just in their own backyard, but in multiple markets all across the country. And what's actually interesting is a lot of our users are out of the country. I was just on a call earlier with one of our users in Tel Aviv.
Hmm.
Yesterday, I was with one of our users who's in Cyprus, an island in the middle of the Mediterranean in the Middle East.
Right.
And they're doing virtual deals here in the US, and that's what's possible.
Wow. So, as an investor, my big takeaway is data matters. You're you're on the cutting edge of it, and you have a platform that enables me, of course, to communicate with real estate agents. Walk me through then when I sign up, what happens next? Like I can kind of visually see I'm on your
Right.
site, I can sign up, and what's the first action I should take? Am I searching for a property? Am I searching for a city, state, zip code?
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah. Well, what's important here for us is we're more than just a technology company. This is real estate. This is kind of a one-on-one kind of business. It's the kind of company or business where you meet people at a coffee shop and shake hands, right? So what you wanted to kind of layer that into our culture of our company. So we do a lot of training. And what we teach people is that there's a layered approach. And the first thing you do is you research the market. So using our analytics, you can say run a search on a particular market or even the entire coverage area of the country and say, show me every fix and flip that was purchased and sold at a maximum of 65% of the after repair value and meets XYZ criteria. And then if that fits your business model, then you can zero in on those areas where those fix and flip comparables are located, because this is a comparable driven business, right? So you can't just pick areas randomly by convenience. You need to go to where the comps are located.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what we teach people as part of the strategy is go to where the comps are located so you can maximize your ARV and get the most equity out of the deal on the back end because you've done some foundational research. So once you've done that, then you can set Privy up and use our algorithms that automatically go out and find deals that match your specific deal criteria, matching what it is you're doing. So you can say, now I've identified an area in South Chicago that's got good investor activity and I know has good margins. And then I can set Privy up to go after every property that's for sale that I can buy today that's better than 65% of ARV and meets XYZ criteria. And then the system will send you an alert with a live comparative market analysis, all the live MLS data comparables, real-time sold data that's the most accurate they have available, and it's sent to your inbox so you can act quickly.
So as somebody that is actively looking for deals, it's really important for investors to realize that you need multiple tools in your toolbox. It's not
Right.
you shouldn't only be relying on wholesalers. You shouldn't only be relying on maybe one or two agents in your community. By having access to something like this, and this is why I like it, I get updates immediately. And
Right.
I'm beating other investors to the punch every single time because I have data. So you mentioned
Right.
that you scrape a bunch of different, or you're pulling from different APIs. What sources are you pulling from? Obviously, the MLS.
Right, exactly. So right now, our source of data is MLS. We wanted to go for the most valuable
Mm-hmm.
and the hardest to get data first, right? So we've got good traction in doing that. We've got great relationships with all the MLSs that we work directly with. We are actually currently in the process of layering in multiple sources of data. So we plan on adding in rental data for our buy and hold clients. We're going to be bringing in more sources of public records and some other ways that we can help people generate leads, because a lot of investors are so focused on leads that they
Yeah.
forget the rest of the process, and then a deal falls in their lap and they don't know what to do with it. And they're scrambling and like, oh, I have to learn how to run comps in 5 minutes because, now I've got this deal in my lap. So there's a lot of interworkings on the best way to do that. But, you were exactly right. Multiple sources of data. The most successful investors have all these tools in their toolbox. And no matter what deal comes across their desk, they've got a bucket for it. Maybe it's when they do a buy and hold in, or the next property, they might just wholesale it to, a buddy, or maybe that's a project they see good long-term value in, and they want to do the Burr approach, fix it up, refinance it, and get into long-term financing.
Mm-hmm.
So we help people with all those different strategies. And, sometimes they come across a property that's handed to them and they need to run a quick analysis. So our software is designed to send them opportunities using our algorithms. But if they get a deal from a wholesaler or if they have lists they're working, then they can run analysis with our software on any property, on market, off market, no matter the source.
This is really cool. I'm actually on your site right now, and I'm about
Awesome.
to. And it's funny. On the lower right hand side, you see a chat bot or a chat
Mhm.
little box, and it has your name on it, which is really cool. And that's not very common. Um,
You're right.
what I'm saying is this is live chat, and most of the times you'll find like bots and different things, and then eventually maybe you'll see a live person. Man, I think this is really, really cool. So maybe take another minute. Help me understand what my takeaway should be, maybe additional gold nuggets that you have for new investors and pro investors and how they can
Oh, yeah.
start using this piece of software that, I mean, is super, super critical for them right now in a very tight market with almost like no inventory, it feels.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, investors oftentimes get sucked into this business because they saw some guru come through town,
Right.
right? So some guru came through town and says, "Oh, they can get involved with, invest none of their own money, and they
Right.
can, be working off a beach in, 30 days." Well, what we
Right,
realize that this is
that's,
not
I mean,
realistic,
right, that's where
right?
you are right now, right? Like you just have a green screen, behind you, and you got like a sunny California
Right.
ocean view. That's where you are. Let's be honest.
Oh, exactly. And those guys are better at selling coaching than they are investing in real estate investing.
That's
Um,
right.
so, but the fact of the matter is these people need help. And so we wanted to really do our best to help these investors not get sucked into expensive coaching programs
Yep.
or, pouring their retirement or their kids' college fund into some program that may or may not work for them, right? They work for some people, but the likelihood is it's not going to work, right? So how can we help them?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of education that's built in just the usage of the software. Local market knowledge is where the money is met.
Yes.
Money is either made or lost, right? 5% in either direction because you don't understand your comparables or you don't understand the proper construction that's adequate for the neighborhood. We show before and after data on all the flips that are happening and what they bought it for, what they sold it for, timelines. This education is invaluable for investors. And so for the newer people, it's a great way to get up to speed and shorten their learning curve.
Yep.
Really hit the ground running and have a better approach and really understand their market. For the intermediate and experienced investors, we can help them scale their business, right?
Yep.
Move from closing 5 deals a year to 10 next year. Or, we've got one of our Canadian users, they're going to do 100 deals this year.
That's
So
insane. Like that's
totally
awesome.
insane.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what's possible when you leverage technology and data and actually implement automation in your business, because we're all limited by time, right? The most valuable resource we have is time, and people get caught up on these tedious tasks, and they spend a couple hours in the morning trying to find deals. And next thing you know, 5 hours later, they're still analyzing the same amount of properties and they haven't gotten anything done. So when we can automate that process for them and allow them to spend time on money making activities, then they're way ahead of the game, because the majority of the people that we're helping right now aren't doing this full time. This is their side hustle. They're doing this on nights and weekends. So every minute they can invest in their business is crucial. And so we help them focus in on those most important things they have to do to make money.
I'm with you on that 100%. I mean, if we're not focused, we're not going to get a result that we want. We're going to be too scattered. And I like looking at data, and I like what you've put together, because as an investor, I shouldn't be buying in a community, or after my research, I should not be buying into a community where the days on market are increasing at an exponentially increasing rate, right? Like if it's doing one of these things, days on market, probably not a good idea. But if you don't have access to data, what are you going to do? You're going to make mistakes by jumping on Zillow to see what might be happening in the neighborhood that you just don't have all the tools. So there's no way that's going to work. Benson, thanks so much for stopping by, man. What's the best way if we want to get in touch and sign up? How do we do it?
Fantastic. Well, number one, call the office with any questions. Our number here is 844-438-7748. And then they can go to Get Privy Now. Privy is spelled P as in Paul, R-I-V as in Victor, Y.com. GetPrivyNow.com. That's the way they can go and learn about our software and how to get access to it.
Awesome. Hey, man, I certainly appreciate it. I've learned a lot. This was a
Abhi.
lot of fun. Thanks so much. I certainly appreciate it, man. This next segment, Think Realty Nation, is brought to you by Norada Real Estate Investments, your premier source for cash flow investment property. Visit www.turnkeyrealestateinvestments.com. So, we'll take the next minute and a half to talk about maybe marketing your property as pet friendly. Is this something that you should do? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. Well, there's a compelling reason why maybe you should consider doing so. Number one, almost 70% of households in America have pets. Now, this is from RealtyBizNews.com. That's 85 million families have pets. Absolutely incredible. Actually, I didn't even know this. Dogs and cats are the most popular choice. One of my really good friends, she has a bird. And I don't understand that. It's going to be flying around and it can be kind of obnoxious. But hey, you know what? Dogs get it. Cats, meh. I'm more of a dog guy. So many landlords decide to put a blanket ban on having pets. But the problem that Realty Business is talking about is you might not only be losing out on new tenants, but you also could be losing out on potential profits, because obviously you got the pet deposit fees, etc. And you are also losing out on the chance to increase rentership, increase the probability of those that will want to rent from you. This is also happening in the co-working spaces and office spaces. My entire team is moving to a new location from WeWork. We're moving to a new location downtown. And one of the first questions my team asked was, is your building pet friendly? And they said, absolutely. So it's just a nice little benefit to have, and you never know. I mean, we're paying a little extra for that. So I think it's worthwhile. Make it a point to consider this in your next team meetings and see what happens. The other question is, what about damage? Well, that's why you get deposits, and that's why it's not like the tenants could damage your property, right? But that's why you get deposits. I mean, come on. Duh. All right. If you have questions, get in touch. Go to thinkrealty.com. This podcast was brought to you by our awesome sponsor, Real Property Management. Real Property Management is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. You can learn more by visiting www.realpropertymgt.com or calling 888-806-7088. Think Realty Nation, that's the wrap. Got any questions? Again, get in touch. You can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn at Abhi. And until next time, happy investing.